Welcome to the third video in lesson 1, where we will talk about installing the Leap software. In the SharePoint file drive, I have put a folder called the Leap software folder. That folder will contain everything you need to install the Leap software in the newest version. The software you should install is the Leap 64.exe. Unless you have a 32-bit computer, then it should be Leap 32. If you have a 64-bit computer, the 32 will also work, but I highly recommend you installing the 64-bit because that can use a lot more RAM, which is needed when we are actually running the Leap models. You can come into some real problems about not being able to run all scenarios at once if you have the Leap 32-bit version. I have put a side video in as well to tell you how to check which version of Windows you have. If you have a newer computer, there's a high chance you have the 64-bit version. So again, highly recommend you installing the 64-bit version. There's also a TXT file called license. It also contains the license we have for this course. It should be noted that the license is under my name generally, so I can see who I have put it. But so it's only for you, and it's only for the course period, and will end the 20th of October. That also means from the 20th of October you can no longer save models, and that means all your exercises and the final exercise has to be done by then. There's also a second software called Nemo I put in here, and Nemo is the optimizer for Leap. So technically you don't need to have the capability of optimizing, but we would like to run with it when we are using energy or electricity supply setups. So please download all the necessary file you need, which is probably this, and this. So the Leap.exe, the license, and Nemo, and you can install the Leap no problem. So I'm not going to show you how to actually install Leap because I have already installed, so that's difficult. But also it's just a Windows software like installing almost everything else. When you are done with the installation, you should have a window more or less like what we see here on screen. Now we would like to check if everything works in Leap. And you do that by going into the to the help section, the about Leaps. So if you see help up here, and then in the about Leap, just like most other software, you can check some things about the Leap software at a point. You should register beforehand. If there hasn't been an automatic pop-up first time you open the software, how to register, you should not use register online, you should use this register here. That's also where I found that. And that's where you use the name and the passcode for registering. But if you go into the About Leap section, you will be met by a window kind of like this. What we have to look out for is that if you have installed Nemo, it should say Nemo yes. If not, it's Nemo no. You should try installing Nemo or installing it again if you already have tried. There is a bit of an error in Leap about installing the capability to do scripting, which is quite useful for automation. So if you see here, the registered for automation, yes. If that says no, we have to do a few things. If it does say yes, you can actually skip the rest of this video and everything is fine. But if you do have a no, there's two ways of fixing this. I happen to have the easy way, or the official way does not work for me, so I have had to do something else. So I will show you two versions of how to do this. First, the easy official way, and if that doesn't work, you move on to the next version. So if the scripting doesn't work, the official method is to go into this computer or this PC on Windows, navigate to the file or to the folder where you have Leap installed. In this case, it's in my C drive in Programs Files in Leap, and in there is a file called, as you will see now on screen, registerleap.bat. You have to run this as an admin. If you don't have admin on a computer, you should talk to your IT department. Now it's black because there will be a Windows pop-up, and you can see for me it fails, but for most people this will work, and then you can check the help again to see if scripting works for you. But again, for me it fails, so we have method 2. So for this, there's a few caveats. First off, you have to close Leap or make sure it's closed, and you have to run command prompt as an administrator. Then you have to write the following lines below one at a time. The first one is the cd program files to Leap. This can differ a little bit depending on where you install it. Again, this is the same folder as we were using before, but this we just have to navigate that in command prompt. If you've installed Leap anywhere else, this is the folder you will have to write. You should end up definitely at the Leap folder, Leap install folder. So I'm just going to write that for easiness. That's writing. And when that's done, it changes line, and then you need to write the rexvr and then the tsc64.dll, and you should press enter, and a pop-up should come up saying that it has been registered. It will look a bit like this. So now I have Leap where you probably are right now, and the first thing we do is we close Leap down and wait for that to close. Then we open command prompt. I do that just by putting in cmd. That should work for you too. And then make sure to run it as administrator. Then it will pop up to say if you're sure, because you can make changes to the computer, and you have to press yes to this, and that's why it went black. And then you write the cd and then the which folder you had your Leap files. In this case, it's /program files /Leap for me. And then it says, okay, you are now in your program files Leap. That's what it says in that line. Then you write the rexvr32 and then space tsc64.dll. Then pressing that and pressing enter to that, you should get this pop up, which is very important. And then your scripting should work for Leap. If that doesn't work, feel free to write me or email me. I think you can write me through the SharePoint. But then we will take a look at it. But this has definitely worked for me and more or less everybody else I asked who has had this problem.